3D. Today I have Andrew Packer, who is one of my favorite clients at Lucidpress. He is the leader of CS and most recently is diving into the HR world. I'm trying to like slowly drag him away, but at the same time, I mean, CS and HR, they just go hand in hand. So I'm so excited to share with you guys everything that's amazing about Lucidpress, but more importantly, how awesome this guy Andrew is. We were just talking about, it's Juneteenth, and you guys took it off. So funny story really quick.
Okay.
Well, I can't even remember. We were talking to Owen. He said something, and then he's like, oh, maybe it was about this shoot. I can't even remember now. But then he was like, oh, well, we're all off because it's June 19th, it's a holiday, so we're going somewhere. And I was like, oh, yeah, because he said he couldn't come today, and that's why, because the office was closed and that they couldn't come because it was Juneteenth. And I read his message through Slack, and then I didn't acknowledge it for probably 5 hours because I like closed my computer and I started crying because that like, well, it means a lot. It's like everything. And I have never worked with a company that has ever recognized it as a national holiday, ever. And I have never had the confidence to like ask for it or push for it or to say anything. And so just seeing that, and it speaks volumes to who Lucidpress is and who you guys are as leaders. And then I realized that the shoot was today, and I'm like, how like crazy is that, right? That like we're celebrating the emancipation of slaves, and here I am, like I'm a business owner and I get to be here and I get to be interviewing really cool people in this really amazing studio with this super awesome crew, and it's so emotional for me.
Oh, I think why wouldn't you celebrate like like one of the most important things that's happened in the United States, right?
Yeah.
I think it's amazing, right? I'll celebrate, I think, a pivotal moment in history and a big change, and hopefully like one step in making good progress. So
the conversation, it's like now after last year, all of a sudden it's okay to have the conversation and we don't have to like shy away from it. And that is in and of itself is huge. And to be here with like you, and I don't know, it just is, it's a lot of emotions for me today. I didn't even realize it was gonna be that way. Well, I probably should have warned you. Like,
no, that's okay.
So thank you for being here on your day off. So customer success. Now that I know you a little bit more, and I know that you were in the Navy, right? Or the Navy.
I still am.
You still are. You're still in the Navy, which is like rigid, no emotions, like we show up and we're badasses, excuse my language, like whatever, right? The opposite of customer success, which seems like empathy and feelings and emotions. So like, where do you live in that?
So actually the two things are totally applicable to each other.
What?
Yeah, so interpersonal relationships, maintaining interpersonal relationships, like ensuring the success of your team correlates really well with ensuring the success of your customers, synthesizing data, like understanding data, and then like making decisions on how to maximize return on investment for your customer or for your team, your organization, and providing consultation. Like that's what I do in the Navy, and that's what we do as customer success managers. So the two lend themselves really well to each other.
I would have not thought of it that way until you just broke it down that way.
Also, I do so many PowerPoints in the Navy.
What?
And so
what PowerPoints are you doing in the Navy? How are you going to blow something up? Like, tell me more.
It's really like, it's, a lot of the Google Slides skills that I've developed in CS really like lend themselves to
the
it.
Lucidpress
Yes,
helps
in
with
Lucidpress
that, right?
as well. So there are tons of different jobs in the Navy, and my job, I prepare a lot of slide decks. PowerPoint warrior, they call me. Yeah.
Okay, so PowerPoint warrior you are. I have seen his PowerPoint warrior skills in action, and they are impressive. And your ability to understand information that you just thrown into this HR world, like here you go, we're doing this. Like your ability to grasp it and move, like and translate something very difficult that you didn't understand to everybody else is just incredible. Which leads me to, I think that the biggest, I don't know how to say this, like your hidden gem in an organization, if you are an HR leader, is customer success. Because at the end of the day, everything we do is in alignment. If your people aren't happy, your customers aren't happy. If your customers aren't happy, it's usually because it's a people problem. And then a lot of times where I see HR leaders struggle is the ability to, like, we can tell stories really great, but we can't put stats to it. And that's where I think a lot of leaders in HR start to, like, you hit you're at your glass, what is it? You hit the ceiling?
Yeah.
Is that right? You hit the ceiling because you can't take it to that next step. So get with a CS person because that's what you do, right? Like, you have to translate that story.
Yes, I think that customer success managers, the people that make the best customer success managers, are half and half, right? They're half people persons, and then they're half technical and half analytical, because they have to serve as a bridge between the technical side of the house, so engineering, product, technical support, even like sales, and then they have to consume that information and then translate that back to the customer, and then take the information from the customer and convert like the customer's wants and needs and desires, and then translate that back into technical jargon and relay that effectively to the product and engineering team for execution. So I think like customer success managers have a natural inclination to want to ensure that people are successful. And I think the best human resources people that I've engaged with in the past have the exact same expectation and the exact same focus for customers. For employees.
Right. Yeah, it drives. How do you do that? Like, what are your processing steps to translate those stories? Because that's a lot. Like, if you were talking to someone who is in a startup and they're trying to do all these things, like, what's your advice? How do you translate that?
Yeah, so I think the key to customer success and effective customer success, and I actually think probably the key to success in most aspects of business, in my experience, not that I'm amazing, but
you are amazing. Don't cut yourself down. I know now.
So it's a desire to understand, so a desire to build a foundation of knowledge. So, like, when I start in a new endeavor, whether that's in my reservist side of my career or in my civilian career, whatever I'm doing, like, understand everything I can about the problem set that I'm facing and about, so with Lucidpress, like, the first thing I did was understand the product. So take a crash course in the product, and then take a crash course in the industry. So marketing, I know a lot more about marketing now than I ever did before. And then, like, with human resources that I just took on, what I did is a bunch of informational interviews with human resources experts that I'd seen be successful in the past. So gain whatever information that I can. So you start with an understanding, or you just try and gain as much knowledge, and then just practice, right? So the more engagements you have with the customer, and the more actively you listen, then the easier it is to understand what they want and then relay that to the technical team.
Yeah.
So
you do a good job at that, and I think you're such a great communicator, so it comes naturally to you.
I don't know about that.
You don't think so?
No.
It's so interesting. I feel like sometimes, like, people see our strengths and they're not, like, we don't identify with them, right? I think you're a fantastic communicator.
Well, that is, like, so kind. My wife would not agree with you.
I don't think, I bet Josh would disagree too. He'd be like, no, you know what he would say? He'd be like, she is really wonderful at work. At home, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, how did you go from riding horses to working at a tech company in Silicon Slopes?
Yeah, this is a great question. So Sydney and I share a passion for horses.
Yes.
And, like, at heart, I'm kind of a little bit of a hick, or a lot bit of a hick.
Me too.
Yeah.
I absolutely am. When I found that out, I was like, yes, we're going to be friends for life just because of that. And not a lot of people understand what it's like to break ice at 5 a.m, or dethaw hoses because you didn't train them all the way, which happened all the time.
Yeah, it's the best. Or, like, practice your swear words with your dad when you're putting shoes on a horse.
Yes.
So my dad had a rule. That was the only time you could swear.
Is when you're shoeing a horse.
When he's shoeing a horse.
Why when you're shoeing a horse? horse of all the things.
Just because it's the worst, and they're the worst.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so tell me.
Yeah. So no, we grew up on a farm, kind of a farm, right? A little hobby farm, and I think like that is where I learned the principle of hard work, and I think that's the most important thing. Like you learn in a way that I think you can duplicate or replicate in other areas, but I think it's one of the most natural ways for people to teach kids how to work. And my dad and mom taught me how to work really hard.
We've talked about this, that like I struggle now because that is definitely where I learned hard work from, was that, I wanted to go hang out with my friends and I had to clean stalls way before, I had to clean stalls, I had to feed 6 horses, I had to help with the cows, like I had to do all of that before I could do what everybody else was already doing with, they didn't have to do any of those things. Like, and now 2 stepdaughters, and I'm trying to figure out like, cleaning your room doesn't seem that hard. Like, I don't understand. Like, why can't you put, how are you doing that? Because I'm struggling.
Yeah, I don't know. I looking back, I'm sure that it was not as easy for my parents as I remember it being. I'm sure that there was a lot of like hand holding and standing over me, and I'm sure that when I was 5, I wasn't out there, shoveling horse crap the way that I seem to remember myself doing. But for me, it's just like stick with them and just hold hands with them and work until the job's done together. And we're trying, like my kids, everyone else in the neighborhood seems to run around like a pack of feral cats. But my kids, they have responsibilities and chores, and I don't tell CPA on this, but my 8-year-old is out there mowing the lawn, right? Like they're doing it, and I want them to learn how to do it. Yeah. And we still go over to Grandma and Grandpa's and take care of the horse and shovel poop and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, I think we're doing that with Harper too, and the tough lessons, like I'll saddle your horse for you, but you got to figure out how to get up on it. Like I'm not gonna put you up there. And so like watching her figure that out, I think was one tool. It's cool to see, right? Now I can see her trying to figure other things out. Yeah. Like if you are this little teeny monster and you can climb up on this like 16-hand horse, that's huge for kids.
Yeah.
But I see that, all the other kids running around doing whatever, and they know. They're like, oh yeah, we got a lot of chores at Dad's house. There's a lot to do.
No, and it's totally good for them. I think it's good for them. Gives them structure, and that structure that my parents provided me, I think, has been just so valuable throughout the rest of my life, right? Yeah. It made school easier for me, I think, than other people, or not easier, but like I just knew what to expect, and I worked hard at it. And like do another job, and then you go to work or go to school and you work and you do all those things. And so I did that growing up, and I served a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Taiwan, and fell in love with Chinese. And so when I got back to BYU, I studied Chinese with the intent that I wanted to go work for the CIA.
What?
That did not pan out.
I love that dream though.
So I was just in an application process, and it's a long application process. It takes like a year.
Holy cow.
And so I got a job working for a consumer packaged goods company, speaking Chinese and engaging with some of like their Chinese resellers. And I just realized that I had like a knack for relationship management, and that kind of was how I started in the direction in that career.
Well, you must be good, because you went to the Netherlands, right, and opened that.
Yes.
For Lucid software. Yeah. You moved your whole family.
Yeah.
And how old were your kids when you did that?
So our oldest was, they were 6, 4, and 2, and then we had a baby when we were in the Netherlands.
Okay, what was that like?
It was bonkers.
I need more details. Tell me more. I am so jealous.
Most Dutch women give birth at home. We did not give birth at home, or not we. I didn't do any of the hard work. It was Tani, my wife. We went to the hospital, and it was so different from the United States. They would not give her an epidural even though she asked for it, so she did it all natural.
No.
and they don't have OBs in the room unless there's something wrong, and so it was a midwife.
Wow.
A midwife and me, and I'm not into it. Like if I could, no, seriously, if I could have lived in like the 1950s and sat out in the waiting room for the birth of my child, I totally would. It's just.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I haven't had kids. I've got stepkids, and I am terrified. I'm a little nervous too. I'm not gonna lie. Well, I can't, but like.
I mean, it happened, and we have Henry now. He's our little Dutch boy, you know. We call him.
He's so cute too.
Yeah.
Okay, so what were the schools like and the adjustment for your kids? Were they on board? Were they scared?
So I think if you're going to move your kids overseas, the younger they are, the easier it is.
Yeah.
They bounce back really quickly.
Yeah.
It was so fun. We lived in an apartment in Amsterdam proper.
Oh my God.
So
did it just smell like marijuana?
We told our kids that's the Amsterdam flowers. That's the smell. We did not.
They're gonna remember that one day. They're gonna be somewhere and be like, "What? How did those flowers get here?"
So it was awesome. So everyone thinks when they think of Amsterdam, they think of like a 4 square block area in the middle of Amsterdam.
Right.
What they don't think of is that it is like one of the most family-friendly cities in Europe.
What?
Everyone there speaks perfect English. The architecture is beautiful. It's so healthy. We did not own a car for the first 6 months that we were there. We biked everywhere. We had what's called a bakfiets, a bucket bike. So it's a bike, a big long bike with a giant bucket in the front. And we had all 3 kids buckled in there. Seriously. And I would push the kids.
We need a picture, and we're gonna put that in for sure.
We do. I can get you a picture. The bakfiets and the bucket bike, and it was so fun. We sent the kids to an international school.
Okay.
So it was in English. It was like a free-range school, kind of like super hippy-dippy.
Yes.
That's okay, for me to say that, just so granola and love, and they got to decide what
love
they
and
wanted.
light. I hate when people say that.
What they wanted to play and or study, and but I mean the kids did really well. They have a law there that after the age of 4, your kids are in school for 8 hours a day. So our 4-year-old was in school for 8 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah. So but they loved it.
Did she come back to the States ahead?
She did.
Was that 8 hours?
And so did Lucy. Yeah.
Okay.
Both of them did come back ahead, I think.
Wow.
Even though their school was like
hippy dippy.
It was like, what animal do you want to learn about today? And I don't know. Just different from what we expect, you know.
So was the culture like that in the professional sense? Like when you were opening the new office, how did that differ from Utah?
So that, I think this was probably like up to this point, maybe my most satisfying professional experience. Like so fun. Just starting an office from scratch, hiring a team, and we built an international office. It was not a Dutch office. We only had 2 Dutch people working for us.
Is that intentional to have just a very diverse culture?
Yeah, because we were servicing all of our customers across Europe, the Middle East, and Africa. So we were hiring Germans, we were hiring Frenchmen or French people, French men and women. We hired a lot of Brits. We had people from Portugal and from Brazil. It was awesome.
How did you do that? Like, tell me how did you do that? Like, how did you get such a diverse?
Yeah, it was awesome. So I started doing just crazy amounts of LinkedIn outreach.
Okay.
The minute I got the assignment to start to build an office in Europe. So I knew in maybe September that I was going to build an office starting Jan 1 in the Netherlands. And so I started doing outreach. We flew over there and you know, we engaged a couple of professional recruiters, but the best candidates that we found were all like just self-sourced on LinkedIn. Just said, hey, we're opening an office there. Your LinkedIn profile looks interesting, and we'd love to set up a time to chat. And so we started off with 6 that we hired, either with the initial scouting team that went over, or just done via Zoom. And like when I'm hiring, like for me, you just cast a really broad net, just a broad net, and you talk to as many people as you possibly can, and then the best candidates will just like surface through engagement. And it takes a lot of work to have that many initial conversations or that many initial phone calls. Or when I was there, I went to so many like lunches or breakfasts or coffees or whatever. But you just start engaging with people, and then like if you do that, I think, and just regardless of who they are or where they're from, like, you're gonna find the best candidates. And then meritocracy, they just like rise to the top.
They do. And you know what? It's so interesting hearing you like share this story, because that's exactly what we're doing right now. Is we have gone through vetting brokers and understanding that world. You were like, I want to talk to a lot of people, and I see why you're doing it that way, and that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, for me, the number one. So I've had an opportunity to hire dozens, if not maybe hundreds, of customer success managers or implementation specialists or technical support specialists. But or sales reps. But to me, it is the most important thing you do as a leader. Because if you find the right people, all of a sudden you don't have to work very hard. I mean, you still do, obviously, but
it goes. Do you guys, as like everybody's seeing now why customer success and HR go hand in hand, right? Because your people come, and like you have to be in alignment with that. It's 100% true. So, Kate, Lucidpress has gone off, and now you're kind of restarting, doing another thing, right? Because they're not with Lucid Software. Why did you say yes? Owen comes to you and says, hey, we're doing this thing. I want you to come. Like, why'd you say yes?
Yeah, because like it's an adventure. I'll tell you what, there is nothing more fun than hyper-growth hiring and building teams. I just think it's so fun. And you know what? Like, I get enough of like bureaucracy and big ships, like metaphorical ships in my weekend job. Like it's just like so much red tape, and it takes so long to turn and to make changes and decisions. But like, and Lucid Software, which is probably the most amazing place that I've worked for up to this point. It's amazing.
I don't have as much interaction, but I just spent a lot of time diving into their employee handbook. And if you know me at all, you know that I think employee handbooks are like the key to an amazing culture. And I was just so impressed. So whoever wrote that, kudos. I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, they're amazing. It's a fantastic company, but it was just getting so big. It was so big. And as it gets bigger, and as any organization gets bigger, bureaucracy like sets in, because it has to, right?
Right, yeah.
And I just was like excited about the opportunity to go back down to a startup or a scale up and just build something awesome. And I will tell you this, I think Lucidpress is a fantastic product, and we have an awesome product market fit, and we're gonna do something really, really cool.
I agree.
In 5 years, people are gonna be talking about Lucidpress or whatever our name is. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna rebrand.
It is gonna be awesome.
They are going to be talking about Lucidpress the same way they talk about Pluralsight or Qualtrics. It's gonna
100% agree with you, and I agree with you because I think the product is awesome, but I agree with you more because I think the people are really incredible that are there. Like I am like knocked off my feet, knocked off my socks.
Your socks are knocked off.
My socks are knocked off.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm killing it on the analogies today. I'm horrible. Yeah, my socks are knocked off every time I interact with anyone on your team. Like, honestly, it's incredible to see how hard everybody is working, how dedicated people are. And it's even in the smallest things, right? Like, I need your I-9s, and I say it, and then here's the due date, and I don't have to follow up. Like, everybody...
Except for you. Oh, my gosh.
Which I should have printed and had and signed.
Oh, my gosh. I feel so bad.
No,
Holy
you're okay.
smokes. Usually I have pretty good attention to detail. I just totally spaced that one. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, it's okay. You're legit. But maybe we cut that because that's like... No, I'm kidding. But no, everybody is so responsive. Everybody seems so tuned in and has the right attitude and mindset from the interactions that I have had. And that is gonna, like, that makes or breaks a startup. I work with startups all the time. Like, that's my bread and butter, is, you know, helping people get to that next phase. And it's interesting. We were joking with Johnny behind the cameras about, like, filming weddings and how you know if someone's going to be successful, or, like, is their marriage going to work, or if it's not, right? I feel like I can do that with startups, with the people, right? Like, you can see within the first, like, I can look at their team and be like, they're going to struggle. Like, they're going to have some pain. And you guys, everybody has pain in startups, but, like, you guys are zoned in. And it seems like all the pieces of the puzzle are coming together. So I agree with you that I think Lucidpress is going to do incredible things. 100%. Well, okay, it is really a cool product, but, like, it's just the team is incredible.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you. Yeah.
You are so welcome. How do you maintain that?
So I think you have to be deliberate, and you have to be super deliberate about culture, and you have to be deliberate about building.
Yep.
Like, real values and real culture. So you have to say, this is who we are. You have to, like, understand who you are. You have to build in your team a vision of where you want to go. And then, like, the key for me, and I've said it before, is making sure that you get the right people in seat to execute against that vision. Yeah.
I'll give, like, a plug to Mod HR, because, you know, why not? But I see that, like, people is a focus, and so many companies at 50 or at your size will be like, oh, we don't need HR, or we can figure it out, or whatever. And so that's a testament, at least on my side, that, like, you and Owen and the executive team have just been like, we need HR. This is important, and we, you know, you have put value into that, and that means a lot to me. But also, I think it's important for other startups to see, right? Like, start from the ground up, do it right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, at first, anybody in a startup that's crazy enough to want to do all the HR diligence on their own, like, I guess they're welcome to whatever fallout they have from that.
I do a lot of cleanup, I will say. No, I'm kidding.
No, like, you have to invest in your people, and the more you invest in your people, and, like, the better caliber of people that you have working for you, then the less. So initial investment is key, because once you do that initial investment, the less you have to add at later stages, right? So it's so much easier to start down the path the right way, and you don't have to do tons of course corrections. Right. So the times that I've regretted most in my career, the decisions that I've regretted most in my career have never been like letting go of someone too soon. It's always been like not finding the right person at the right time.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Right.
So.
Right. I love it. And I think you are so great at those swift decisions and analyzing and then moving and keeping it going.
Trying to get better.
Well, you're doing a great job. And I have loved working with Lucidpress, and I continue to just, like, look forward to every call that we have when I'm working with anyone on the team. So
well, that's
I don't know if they feel the same about me.
They do. Everyone loves Sydney.
You're so sweet. Thank you so much for coming in. Thanks for being here on your day off to help celebrate Juneteenth and to share all the amazing things about Lucidpress and CS. I hope that we've inspired some people to go out and form those relationships in the office with your CS and your HR, because that's your hidden talent. That is your hidden weapon. So go find them, and thank you, Andrew, for being here.
No, Sydney, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure chatting.
Of course.